Texas National Guard takes control of border, restricts Border Patrol access.
Based.
It's pretty based.
This is the reason why Texas is called a Lone Star State, because it's going to be the one that goes, fuck off, we're going to secede from the Union.
Yeah.
This kind of shit. This is like the first domino effect of something you would suspect a state that would like to secede to actually do.
What are they supposed to do? They're the ones on the border. They are literally on the border with Mexico, where all of the people are coming up from South America via the Rio Grande. They're coming across the border. They're the state that has to take the people in. Now, I didn't like that little stunt. I know that we laughed about it, but the stunt of shipping the people from that was DeSantis, though, shipping the people from Florida to New York. But
I mean, he did it. What the hell? Abbott. He's the one. He sent it to. Where is Kamala Harris's residence? Because I could swear he sent it to them.
I thought he sent about Martha's Vineyard. Martha's Vineyard, yeah.
No. That was DeSantis who did that.
Yeah.
I could swear Abbott sent a bunch of them to Kamala Harris's residence.
Kamala Harris.
I know a bunch of them did.
I don't remember where Kamala Harris is from.
Sent them to the VP's house in DC. It's pretty based.
Oh,
that's the one.
Yeah.
That is based. If he did that,
yeah,
So
hilarious.
I have several.
I remember that stupid shit.
With this shit.
Mm.
Yeah,
I've got several stories on this. Go on.
Sure. Sorry. I just want to say, I think these stories are cute. Like, it's cute when they do that, but it's ultimately deleterious to the entire society and to America to just keep these people around the United States, send them back, stop shipping them to Democratic cities.
I do agree, but if you were to ship back, say, 50 batches of them, you would get less attention on the issue than sending one batch to Martha's Vineyard. So actually, I think it is a good idea ultimately, even if that specific batch should have been deported. Raising the awareness and not deporting them is probably worth it overall.
I don't actually think it raises awareness, because all the Democrats in those, I'm not sure if it does, because the Democrats in those areas, they already know. They know. They want to import immigrants to vote for their policies. They just don't want, they're NIMBYs. It's not in my backyard. I want all these immigrants. They just cannot live near me because this is my gated area where I have my special privileges. They want immigrants in their states, just nowhere near them.
So Texas National Guard take control of border, restrict Border Patrol access. So Border Patrol being the feds in this situation. And so basically Texas, having a federal government is something that, you're always going to have some degree of federal government, even in a confederacy. In a confederacy, the states are in charge of the federal government, sort of. In a federated system, the federal government takes priority over the states. Now, the US was originally conceived as confederacy, and I think a confederacy is the best system for individual rights. But a federal system is a bit better at collective control and power, which is sometimes necessary, unfortunately, and that's what you have now. So the feds, if there's a few things that you could easily argue the feds should control: a national military, national diplomacy, borders, and one or two other things, but not very much. Borders, though, are one that you really could argue that are the feds' responsibility. However, if the feds are not taking that responsibility, if they are failing and derelicting their duty, then I see no reason why it shouldn't be taken over by the states, because the states can do it as well. And here they are. That's what's happened here in Texas. It appears to, anyway. Now, I've been told that Abbott, the guy in charge of Texas, is not as base as we would like, but I've seen some good things from him.
Unfortunately.
So I've seen some good things. So fuck it. And until he stops doing this kind of thing, good for him.
Hopefully he's more base than he seems.
I don't know if he is, but this is good. So this is from WLT Report. I'm not sure what, I guess the T stands for Texas, though. About time, they say. Border Patrol in Texas isn't restricting the invasion of illegal immigrants, so they're being restricted from that area as National Guard steps in. We have video of this, by the way. He says, I can almost hear the seething and rage from the left. Can you? Washington Examiner reports, in an effort to reduce illegal border crossings, Governor Greg Abbott ordered Texas troopers to seize control of a public Eagle Pass park overnight. Eagle Pass is one of those names which, if this goes awry, which it's looking like it is, by the way, we got more on this story, this could end up in the history books. Watch out for Eagle Pass in the history books, chat. Defying the wishes of city officials. So even the city are against this. And Greg Abbott's like, nope, do it properly. Eagle Pass Mayor Rolando Salinas. Oh, I wonder why he's against it. I wonder fucking why Eagle Pass Mayor Rolando Salinas is against Greg Abbott preventing illegal Mexican border crossings. Any ideas in chat? Go on, chat. Take your time. Let me know what you think the reason for that might be. Any guesses? Any clues? Any hints? Count? Yeah, he's Jewish. Very good, Marketillo. Said the Texas Department of Public Safety informed him on Wednesday morning that the state received an emergency declaration from Abbott to take full control and custody of Shelby Park. Quote, that is not a decision that we agreed to. That is not something that we wanted. It is not something that we asked for as a city, Salinas said in a Facebook video post Wednesday evening. The video shows the Texas National Guard fencing off the park from the public. Here's a fun little factical, Salinas, a fun little factoid, something for you to consider. Maybe you should have that kind of power. Maybe you, as a city, should have devolved power over your own region to do as you wish with it. Just like Texas does.
Just imagine that. How bizarre.
I'm under the impression that's what our country has.
Yeah. I do think that maybe the US should go like regional one layer down further than they are currently. So each county has a popular vote internally, but is numeric above that. Similar to the UK, because when it's just states, each state has a popular vote, so the rural Californians are just fucked. But hey, you know, even then it would be another layer down before it gets to city, most likely. When Salinas asked DPS, not sure who that is, to state something, I'm not sure, Department of, I don't know, why the state was seizing the park, they said the mission is to prevent undocumented people from crossing into Eagle Pass. Eagle Pass has reported a record number of migrant crossings, quickly becoming one of the most heavily trafficked sections of the US-Mexico border. House Speaker Mike Johnson, a Republican from, what state is that, LA? Louisiana? And dozens of Republicans visited the area last week.
Yeah, Louisiana.
Threatening to withhold financial aid for Ukraine or Israel unless the border is secured. How dare they reallocate funds from securing the border of countries on the other side of the planet when our own border needs to be secured? Yeah, how dare they? It's
that's why they're struggling, right? It's that, like, yeah, we need to maintain the Ukraine and Israeli borders, but not ones in the U.S. Who cares? That's why they fail.
How much did Trump want for his border? It's like, oh, what, like 20 billion? Oh, that's too much. But we can send over 100 billion to fucking Ukraine.
Yeah. Ukraine, Jesus let's Christ.
Go. Yeah.
Yep. 20 billion for the wall.
Get fucked, Congress.
100 billion for Ukraine. Normative. Great. It's crazy when you think about when you put it into those kinds of terminology.
Yeah.
Just realize how insane it is.
Yeah. Poor Mayor Rolando, says this article. He's not getting his wish to let the invasion continue. Yeah, we were talking about this yesterday, and I wonder what your thoughts on this is. The state troopers, whatever they're called, say undocumented people. Some people say aliens or illegal immigrants.
Mm-hmm.
I would recommend we go all the way and call them invaders.
Why not? They should be called invaders. They are. I'm sorry.
It is just a word, but it's also accurate.
I prefer the World Economic Forum's language, actually.
What's theirs?
Useless eaters.
Oh yeah. There you go. Let's use this. Yeah, that's a politically correct term if it's from the WEF.
Colonizers.
So these useless eaters.
Colonizers really sets the leftist ideology against
colonize.
They like that too much.
Yeah, but I don't like that one because colonizing is based because imperialism, I think, is the based one. But like these people, you offer nothing. I'm not going to sit here and say these people are anything else. They offer nothing to society.
Mm.
In which case, useless eater is a good term, isn't it?
Yes, that's why I quite like that term. Like, I don't like using their language, but God, that's fucking good, isn't it?
Bill Melugin on Twitter says, new, the Texas Military Department confirms the Texas National Guard has seized control of Shelby Park in Eagle Pass, city property where mass illegal crossings are, weird wording, and is restricting Border Patrol from accessing the area, saying the feds perpetuate illegal crossings. Here is a video.
They do.
They do. This is just them driving around the area, it looks like.
Mm-hmm.
They were showing military patrols at the beginning. At the beginning, there's the military at the area.
Yeah, you can see, and then you can see a couple people at the fence.
That's it. Yeah, that's all. That's all this video. So yeah, just in, Texas National Guard sees Shelby Park. This other guy's saying it. Here's another video. This, I assume, is Eagle Pass. Man, those silvery blanket things, I don't think they're very expensive, but they don't come from nowhere.
Oh, it's almost like they're given to them by the U.S. government. Weird.
And the U.S. government prints money out of thin air.
Yeah, because money
which has no effect on the economy whatsoever. Like.
So, from Zero Hedge, Texas seizes control of Border City Park, escalating war against illegal immigration. See some more footage here. This, I think, is that same area we were looking at before, or likely to be.
Military Hummers, nice.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Military just own the park now. Quote, they are denying entry to Border Patrol agents to conduct our duties, a federal official told CBS News, who wondered what authority Texas officials have over the federal government. It's their bloody state, 10th Amendment. I know this. How do you not know this?
How do you not? Like, what the fuck? Like, it's their state. It's their jurisdiction. Get fucked.
Yeah.
The federal. Oh my God. We are. This is why the establishment of the federal government, of the Fed in the first place. Woodrow Wilson needs to go. I hope he's burning in hell for forever over this shit. It's all his fucking fault. Fuck you, Woodrow Wilson. I hate you so much.
I kind of find it weird that Texas is there with guns guarding the border and the federal government's coming in. You need to stop doing that. It's like, what? Like, the whole thing is just so real.
Yeah, it is surreal.
Texans are increasingly wondering about the opposite question, says Zero Hedge, which indeed. Via an emergency declaration from Governor Greg Abbott, Shelby Park, which abuts the Rio Grande, is now controlled by the Texas Department of Public Safety. Yeah, thanks, Aiden. And National Guard units. Eagle Pass Mayor Rolando Salinas Jr. told reporters he learned about the move was just shortly before it happened via a phone call from a DPS official who informed him the state was taking full control of the recreational park indefinitely. I love that. Just, hey, buddy, just thought we'd let you know it's ours now. Bye. Like, they have that authority.
Yeah. Right. They're able to do that. Just like, we haven't declared an emergency declaration. You lose all your rights.
But let's not hide behind that, though. So if the Californian government were to come in and seize someone's property and say it's for our own reasons, we would all say that's wrong. That's a violation of their rights. And you could certainly have the argument about whether like the state's rights override the individual's rights or however that works out. But to be clear, whilst this is allowed, as some other state action that we disagree with might also be allowed, this is also right. This is also what should be happening.
And it's within the state to override the federal government trying to take them the fuck over. And this is the entire point that the founding fathers had. Yes, that emergency declaration from Abbott is correct. He should be able to take control and have control over the federal government. That was the entire point of the Confederacy. And I'm not talking about the Confederacy of the South, the Confederation of states with federal government in the United States. That's why we all agreed to get along with each other, is that the states would ultimately have the say. That's what it's supposed to be, but it is almost never been applied that way. Good on you, Greg Abbott. Honestly.
Yeah. So, but like you're right that they have that authority, but my point is that another state could use that authority in a way we disagree with. But just to be clear, in this case, what he's doing is correct, and I justify it, and I can explain why it's correct. And in that other case, I can explain why it's wrong. So it's not just we're not just saying it's legal, so go ahead. We're also saying it's legal, so
cut all the genitals off of every 11-year-old. Yeah.
It's legal, so stop telling him it's not, and it's right. So that's important. It's both things.
You're never going to get people in that moralistic argument, Uzalu. Like, the left will never agree with moralistic arguments.
No. I'm not making that to persuade opponents. I'm just making the case that I'm not just approaching this with it's legal, thus it's right. I'm saying it's legal, so stop telling him it's not legal. And I also think it's right. So I'm not trying to persuade. I'm just explaining that it's both things from me. People do often make the mistake, and it's actually something psychopaths get confused about, that the difference between permitted and moral, or allowed and best. Psychopaths will often see morality merely through the lens of what they are permitted to do, because they don't have a sort of internal compass for that. And that's how they are.
Exactly. Yep.
Quote, "This is something that City was not expecting," he said. Oh, no. So right now there's military personnel and they put gates in. Well, so you were expecting the millions of migrants then, but not the couple thousand military personnel from your own country to secure the border, Mr. Salinas. So right now there's military personnel and they put gates in Shelby Park blocking access from the public into the park that belongs to the city. Now, ultimately it belongs to the state, I think.
Yeah, it belongs to the country. It belongs to the city, then belongs to the state, then belongs to the nation. Like, it just, like, what a ridiculous kind of statement. They're not supposed to come in here. And I frankly, at this point, am wondering why anyone's still coming into the United States. Like, when you look at how horrific our economy is doing.
Worse. Also, Mexicans don't know how bad the U.S. economy is compared to how well it should be doing.
Or El Salvadorians certainly don't.
Yeah, indeed. Apprehensions at the site have eased from thousands per day in December down to 400 or 500.
By the way.
You can. Recently, still a substantial number as Mexico has increased enforcement on its side. Mexico has increased enforcement on its side. That's interesting. I wonder why they're doing that. Genuinely, I'm not sure. Because when it was under Trump, I knew why they were doing it. Go on.
Because Mexicans don't want to go to the United States anymore. They're building up their own walls because Mexicans actually think, and I don't know this for sure, but I've seen some evidence that even people from South America are like, oh shit, we don't want to go anywhere near that. There's still people who have been given these fake promises. And by the way, what they're mostly doing is they're not crossing the borders like this. Some of them are. Most of them are being flown in now by Democrats. They get nice little cushy flights. They don't need to have to cross the border with their babies on their backs. They don't need to, and they don't want to, because they realize that their prospects are as good in Mexico as they are in the United States, which is horrific.
If that's true, then it may be. This is only mitigation, not a counter argument. But wouldn't Mexico need to not really try hard to stop them leaving the country if they know it's not worth it? If the people who would be trying to leave know it's not worth it to leave the country? Or is there more to it than that?
Yeah.
I'm genuinely not sure why Mexico's blocking their own people and people from south of their country from going into the US. The one thing I can think of is that they genuinely don't want the entirety of South America going through their country. But at the same time, why do they really care? Like, I'm not trying to say that Mexicans are identical to Bolivians or Brazilians or whatever. They're not, obviously, but does the Mexico government actually give a fuck? The Mexico government barely has any control.
No, they don't care.
Of their country.
Care at all.
The cartels are running the country.
They're controlled by the cartels.
A large portion of Mexico is favelas.
Cartels, same thing.
A large portion of Mexico is favelas. Who would fucking notice if the favelas are now half Brazilian instead of all Mexican? Why? Like, do they really care that much to block off the northern border? Go ahead, Spin.
I imagine it's because if they go to America and America's shit, the next place they're going to go that's slightly better than America is probably back to Mexico. And they're not fans of the people gathering there.
Again, do they care
enough
about that?
That's like the only explanation. But that's like the only explanation that I have, because I'm like you. I'm trying to think of like what's the rationale, and that's like the only one I can think of.
Yeah, like one other thing which is too optimistic, I think, but is a vague possibility, is that they're ready for Trump to come back and they don't want to disappoint him or something like that. Like, they don't want to be immediately.
Oh, that's a good, yeah.
Like pre-capitulating slightly. I don't think that's likely. It's very optimistic, but it's a vague possibility.
It is an explanation, though. It's a good one.
Yeah.
Texas will continue to deploy Texas National Guard soldiers, DPS troopers, and more barriers, utilizing every tool and strategy to respond to President Biden's ongoing border crisis. So I think we get the gist, right? So this is ultimately risky, but definitely a good idea. He's allowed to do it, and someone has to. Like, the situation there is absolutely catastrophic. There is, however, some more on this. So let's have a look at these 3 posts I have. This is some footage from the area. The current posture is to restrict access to organizations that perpetuate illegal immigrant crossings. Here's some footage of some cars being turned away, I think. So just watch this. I think, actually, this may not be cars being turned. Oh no, they let them in and then they turned around and left.
Oh my god.
Bye. Feds arrive in fucking tint black window cars and just by all means go through to turn around and then fuck off, I assume. Yeah. Bye. And then we have this is new, right? So in response, so you might think, well, the US federal government, they're so slow on everything that concerns the border. They're so inactive and so useless. Well, Greg Abbott has several months to do whatever he wants before they respond. Department of Homeland Security issues emergency overnight filing to the Supreme Court to block Texas from taking over border operations in Eagle Pass. Oh, you can do that overnight, can you? Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, they can do that overnight. So they can't block people from coming in over the border in mass numbers. They can do that overnight because that's what the federal government can do, because the federal government is a fucking nightmare that shouldn't exist in the fucking first place. It's a complete violation of the Confederacy of States. Fuck the federal government, and particularly fuck the Fed. This is all what the founding fathers were warning against, and here it is made manifest.
I do think a lot of the problems that America has today are exactly things the founding fathers warned against. Yes. So yeah, it's like Texas doing our job for us, not on my watch. I'll ban them from doing it. And it really is. Just ban Texas from benefiting the people, from defending the people. Now, the one argument they might make is that it's not proper procedurally. They're not going to do it all correctly. They're not going to abide by our human rights standards because, human rights, good. Human rights abused to permit unethical actions, bad, which is often the case. It's the case here in the UK as well.
But that's not what's happening. Is that they're putting these people into these camps often that are not set up for the human rights tribunals that they're so in favor of. They put people into camps, then they send them off into different cities all over the United States with the clothes on their backs. It's sickening. It's disgusting. These people are not being treated as human beings, and they're often being separated from their own families. It's gross. They're only being sent to different cities so that they can go and vote for Democrats. It's crazy. Yeah. Like I feel so horrible for these people who are like being bussed in. And by the way, let's be clear, because they are undocumented citizens, they are not allowed or able to get regular jobs. So they must get jobs under the table, which means they get slave wage jobs.
Yeah. Yep.
These people are being treated as slaves. They are not being able to get real jobs because they are not legitimate citizens. And yet the Democrats want to bring more and more in of them. The Democrats want to fill this country full of slave labor so that they can get their iPhones and live in California and eat their avocado toast without having to give a fuck about the welfare of the people who are making everything that goes into their fucking lives. It makes me sick, dude. Just vote for more of it. Slave labor, great. And this, when I say slave labor, this is the part that's up front. We don't even know a whole lot about the part that's behind the scenes, but how bad the slave labor actually gets in terms of the child stuff, the children being potentially moved across the borders. Who would that be going to? Wonder who. Absolutely sickening.
Texas might just turn around and say, let the Supreme Court enforce it themselves. That would be a big move, but it would also cause some problems. We'll see what happens there. I mean,
I've done it before.
You could argue why not. You could turn around and say 10th Amendment. I'm not sure what the legality on that is, but the Supreme Court will be the ones to decide, and they are one side of the conflict, so they don't. It's not really unbiased anymore at that point, is it? So yeah, who knows what will happen then? But as much as it could be dangerous, I think Texas should stand their ground on this.
I agree 100%. Texas should stand their ground. This is ridiculous. The whole thing's absurd.
I can't believe it's overnight. Just, yep, this one we can do overnight. No problem at all. As someone else said in chat, that if this goes to court, the federal government may have to prove that they were actually doing their job. Which they won't be able to do. Yeah.
Nope.
Not properly, anyway.
Insane.
Yeah. Well, we'll see what happens. So this is definitely one to watch, chat. And I say that a lot. And there is a lot to watch. And we do try our best to come back to important stories, but this is going to be a big one to watch. This could definitely affect 2024 as well. Just some more stories on this. Some more little tidbits. Breaking: Texas National Guard seen using riot shields to block illegal immigrants from entering the U.S. and Eagle Pass. That is what U.S. citizens have been waiting for decades at this point. For someone to actually physically prevent this physical invasion. If that's what's necessary, that's what should be done.